add me. Add to cart. Therapist. No.
I love those. What is it now? Magic! What do we want now? Magic!
So, anybody remember where we left off?
Getting on a boat. I'm on a boat!
Oh,
We are on a
yeah.
boat.
We're on a boat.
It's the weird fat things.
Candle wax.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't really know. And that happened everywhere. And we're a bit scared. And we're, but we're just going.
And I cast a spell and we flew up to the top of a lighthouse and had a go at the harbour master.
Was the harbour master Rex Harrison, or was he more like Christopher Plummer? I can't remember.
Neither.
I don't know. I haven't really decided.
Can't remember if he was either.
Rex Harrison.
Either or. I'd take
Yeah.
it. I'd take
Yeah,
both.
let's go back down there and go. So yeah, we've gone to the Voyager, which is a sentient ship by the sounds of things,
That's all. Yeah. That's all
and
I've got
we've
really.
literally just gotten on board.
Yeah. So the interior of this vessel.
Is it L-cars?
No, it's a bit more style than that. Well, I wouldn't say it's a bit more style. It's a bit more stylish than that. The interior of this vessel is
J.J. Abrams. Lens flare everywhere, even without the need for lenses. Just
You see random circles appear in the
it's oh goodness, I can't remember the name of the film. If you that's the one. If you imagine taking War Rocket Ajax and turning it into a submarine. It's got a great big spike at the front of it. It has wings for no discernible reason. It has a big round. So the entire front of the dome thing is a window, and then it's got a bit that kind of juts out on the seat, so you can see kind of 360 in front of it.
do I need to be on the lookout for Brian Blessed's?
No, but the Voyager's voice is being voiced by Brian Blessed. So I take it you want to go to the. So I take it you want to go to the Blue Sun.
Do now.
Do now.
Yeah.
Completely forgot that
Guess
one.
what? Let's go to live.
Is anybody else thinking about cheese?
Have you seen? He's the new face of the Ladbrokes ad campaign.
Oh goodness.
He's just a giant.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Peter Pan with him as Captain Hook and Toya Wilcox as Peter Pan when I was about 10.
Toya as Peter Pan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best.
Yeah,
My auntie went to school with him.
That's all. Okay, you win.
The first sun on the path, or the first card on the path of suns, is the empty gallows, the three of notions, which signifies a reprieve, or a gallows takes no victory today.
Yay!
So we
But
travelled
watch out for Anderson.
to the Blue Sun unharmed.
Everything goes well. We defeat baddies.
We win. Woo!
It's only a reprieve.
Yeah, so the
Until the
kind of
end.
voices welcoming you on board. Well, come on then. Don't have all day. Time and tide wait for no man and all that.
Well, I'm not a man, so you'll wait as long as it really takes me to get on the ship.
What? And then he kind of says, I must take a look at this. And then you see dotted around kind of every so often on the ship, there's these kind of square picture frames about that big with a sheet of copper. And then the one of them closest to you kind of forms a face and it extrudes out of the copper.
Ooh, it's like the abyss.
Yeah, a bit like that. And you know, it's Brian Blessed's face with the beard and everything else. Just features properly.
He's wearing Voltan's helmet.
No,
Oh.
not yet. Then he kind of looks at you and he goes, "By Jove, you're right. Not too certain about this, having a woman on board. Dash bad luck, apparently."
I'll just sit here and mind my own business then. Of
I've
course,
got an
you-
albatross. Does that help? I'm joking. I didn't say that really.
too late now, it's out there.
Albatrosses are fine. Sailors used to shoot them and eat them all the time.
Get the shits.
They have and pencil.
In the. So, been to the Blue Sun before?
Could you help, please, Cal? I have not.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, I suppose you all kind of technically go there when you do that closing your eyes, going unconscious thing.
Not sleeping.
That's the ticket!
You mean post whiskey?
Too much whiskey.
Yeah, but we, you've not been there before, might be in for a bit of a bumpy ride. Warden gets awful protective of the shoals.
Okay. Shoals of what?
Shoals of blue.
This place sounds intriguing. How long is it going to take us to get there?
20 minutes, half an hour,
Oh.
maybe 6 weeks.
Oh, good.
Well, the sooner we set off, the sooner we get there, I suppose.
Fantastic. Well, get your kids stowed away. We've got disembarkation permission from the harbour master. Guy seems in a hurry to get you to leave.
Did you not
I
witness
can't imagine why.
the I can't remember. Wax, that's the word. Did you not witness what happened?
No, I was underwater.
Yeah, just as well. It's better that we get going.
Okay. Well, staterooms in the back. Galley's all there. Thoughtful or two will take your orders. Food's paid for. Yeah, I shall head off then.
Thank you.
So the door kind of seals shut like a big twisting, rotating cog. And then he starts jabbering on to himself and saying, "Testing engines, engines tested. Tested life supports tested."
He's not saying that they've passed, just that they've been tested. Life support. Yeah.
But it was tested.
I can definitely say that we ran safety checks. They were definitely conducted. This submarine will definitely go underwater.
Whether it comes back up again, not quite sure.
Didn't say anything about that, but it will go underwater. All boats are submarines if you drive them wrong enough.
So you kind of sit down on this nice, great big leather sofa that's on this viewing dock right at the front of it, and you can see the image from the front, and then it kind of pulls out, and then it sails out. It says, "Right, you ready to go? Go underwater? Go to the blue?"
That sounds like too much like Dennis. Did it really sound like Dennis?
It wasn't meant to sound like Dennis.
Okay.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, I've been longing to say this for ages. Dive, my compatriots! Dive! Dive!
First game back in ages and we've killed Dave already.
Did you not see that coming?
I did. I was just hoping you wouldn't.
This is me, come on.
So, this is
Yeah.
Ross.
And then the next paragraph ends with, "Before Roland turned the gun on himself."
So it kind of descends underwater, and then there's bubbles going up in front of it,
It's
and
like
then
Sequest.
yeah, something like that. And then there's all of these. Yeah, but are you on about the Roy Scheider or the Michael Ironside series?
The Roy Scheider series.
I was on about the Legoland ride. Also called Sequest, I believe.
And then
I
you,
see a Lego mermaid.
it kind of goes down under the water, and then you see all kind of fish of various descriptions and whatever, and sort of people deep sea swimming and that as well.
Flying monkeys.
Flying monkeys underwater. Aquatic flying monkeys. Aquonkeys? Sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys. Yes. That's why our pal was like banned from having sea monkeys, because if they go anywhere near us, she'll melt.
And then after about sort of half an hour, maybe an hour, he's kind of got down, and then it's just pitch black outside. He's got like lights on, so which is illuminating the odd kind of flash of marine life that goes in front of it. And there's sort of crazy things you've got, like
Do we see a rogue Jason Statham searching a megalodon?
What do you mean you want another cup of coffee? It's bloody lovely.
You ever see the Meg?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then he says, right, might be spot of turbulence coming up. You might want to take a bit of a lie down. And then you turn around and you look back, and then there's three beds that have kind of folded themselves up from out of something.
Is Strauss with us?
No.
Okay.
Hey.
Just checking these beds and this whole thing. There's not like a Kevorkian kind of theme running, is there?
No, not really.
Okay.
What's going on?
But these are actual beds and not kind of like lie down and then injections and experiments.
Gonna get tied to it. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. I recommend lying down.
Can you all make me a level 7 resist check, please?
Oh, this is going to go well.
This is a lot for me. Something lighter.
That's my dice.
Resist is physical, isn't it?
No, this will be intellect.
Intellect. Here goes. Well, that's a 5, so that's a no.
9.
5.
Oh, no, wait. I have.
I've fallen asleep.
So that's 6. And if I spend a point of sortilege,
You can roll another dice.
I can roll another die. Which is a 0.
Oh, shit.
Oh, magic though.
Oh, and the magic dice.
Oh, the magic die.
Yeah.
This has gone well. Oh, I could have.
Welcome back, Dave. We missed you.
I could have spent a point of intellect, is what I meant to do to give you the
Yeah.
1. That's fine. No, I've said it. I've done it. I've rolled it. Bye, everybody.
No, I've failed as well, so.
Yeah, but you haven't.
Fluxed yourself.
Embarrassing.
You have simply not won. I have lost.
And now I have. Thanks. Okay. So as you kind of drift off, sort of bit by bit, and you fall asleep, and you start to dream, and it's
Pure blue.
sort of fairly general. I mean, what pleasant dream would Stowbold have?
Well, I resisted.
Yeah, what pleasant dream would Stowbold have?
Right. I don't know.
It's going to be the most...
Probably parties after successful training and things, not missions, because generally we lost somebody in a mission, but after accomplishments in the different armies that we were back in the grey, parties and camaraderie and sharing things together and accomplishing together, that kind of thing.
So like demob. And there's like a scene in one bit, and it's going right back to when you passed out from basic.
It's a stupid term. It's a stupid to passing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your drill instructor, you know, the one that had really been driving you real hard, kind of comes up to you and he's like, "Oh, what was your name in Shadow?"
Derek.
Adrian.
Right, Adrian.
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 Oh.
Spoke to him today.
Yeah.
That's enough to you.
Yeah. So he kind of comes across and he claps you on the shoulder and it's like, that's absolutely fantastic. Third in the class, well exceeded expectations on that one there. Probably finally get your pick of your units. Where are you going to go?
What? I don't understand.
Well, you're going to get the pick of whatever military unit you want to join. You've done really well.
Okay.
And beaten expectations. It's like, do you want to go to the Devonshire Rifles or do you want to become
combat correspondent?
Marines, man.
You know, the way you act with people, there'll be a place for you here at Training HQ.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, help the next lot up.
Fantastic.
Until, basically, I think that's what I was doing, training people, until war,
Mm-hmm.
where I was pulled somewhere. It wasn't my choice. When, basically, it's when the enemy are getting through the Allies too quickly, and you need to be training them on the ground while they're still new. Does that make sense?
Don't have the luxury of 8 weeks at Sandhurst.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you reckon you're in for the long haul?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I see bars on your shoulder before 2 years are up. And then you wake feeling just refreshed and warmth, even though you know that's partially a memory from Shadow.
Yeah.
It kind of resonates with the nature of Stowbold so well that you're not down any points or anything, but you kind of, it's like absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
Roland, what dream would you have?
Does it start off as a good dream?
Yep.
So Roland is dreaming about being with his first quartet when he was young, so there'd be kind of Cuthbert and Jamie and everything seemed like fun and games and adventures and nothing really seemed real.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of the whole Stand By Me one, wasn't it? Where it was like very...
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And then it's like, you've got that bit where you're walking across, you've gone further east from the town because it's Plains of Gilead is from. So you've gone further east from Gilead than you ever had done beforehand, following one of the old iron rail roads. And it seems like, you've got the world at your fingertips. And as long as the five?
I can't remember how many there are. 5 of us.
Yeah, as long as the 5 of you are together, it's going to be absolutely perfect. And then that was the time when one of your companions kind of accidentally stumbled on a bear trap. But you remember it initially that they managed to just get out of it, but only lose a shoe. Yeah. Except this time, his leg is stuck.
When you say bear trap, a trap for bears or a trap that is a bear?
A trap for bears. A trap for bears. And it's, one of the
teeth ones are designed to break your leg.
Yeah. But it doesn't do a clean break. So its jaws have kind of gone into the side of his leg, and you can hear and you can feel the screaming, and it's kind of like cutting you down to the bone on this one. How did you get him out of it in the end? Well, how do you get him out?
As this has turned into a nightmare, we we don't get him out, he begs for a bullet to make the pain go away.
How old were you at the time?
15,
What age did you get your guns?
14,
14.
youngest.
Youngest gunslinger.
Mm.
Fantastic. And the first time that you actually had to use your guns?
Not the first.
No. What was the first?
The first is actually my father. But that's not this nightmare.
No, that's a different one.
That's not a nightmare. That's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
In actuality, we kind of pulled him off and he lost his boot, and we all kind of chided him for it and fun and games. But in this, yeah.
So you very deliberately kind of pull it out, and he's
Look
there.
at the flowers.
Yeah. And he's there, and he's kind of staring at you, and his eyes are red just from the pain, and his face has gone white, and he's gritting his teeth because he wants to look you in the eyes. And you say, oh, it'd be best if you turn away so I can do this. And he goes, no, Roland, you owe me this much. You owe me this much. I will be with you always, Roland. Click. Bang. But it doesn't take him straight away. He flinches just at the last moment.
Oh.
And it just takes the side of his face off. And behind you can hear Cuthbert and Jamie just kind of retching, and the woods have gone absolutely deathly silent from the crack of thunder from this gun that you've got. The first guns we've given, are they the ones that you carry now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've got this gun that's almost too heavy for you to be able to hold. You had it in both hands, and you were perfectly fine, but he just managed flinched just at that last moment.
And so in the nightmare, I uncharacteristically kind of like scream at him that he's forgotten the face of his father as I pull the trigger the second time.
And then
You don't need My Little Pony upstairs, I'm just telling you. It's like my anti-nightmare programme.
Compared to what happens to Roland in the actual Dark Tower, this is fine.
Yeah. Reasons I'm not reading that book.
They are amazing, really, really amazing.
They're not nightmare fuel.
They are not.
The later ones are.
Parts of them
I've not read
are
those.
nightmare fuelish, but they are brilliant.
And then you can have that. And then you wake with a start. Kind of flushings of cold sweat going down you, and your heart is racing. Hawk.
Before I kind of go back to myself, I'm very carefully telling myself that that's not what happened, and that he didn't forget the face of his father, and that it was just a nightmare, and that it can't. No, I'm not going to say that it can't hurt me, because it can, and I know that it can. But I'm kind of
Comforting yourself.
I'm trying to convince myself that the dream doesn't have any effect.
Hawk.
Yeah. My dream is I am in the grey, but partying. I'm at a lavish like benefit gala thing, and it is just good times to begin with.
Who's the benefit made of?
It is a charity for a hotel, not a hotel, a hospital, children's hospital.
Mm-hmm.
With like ridiculously rare diseases. So you see your like crappy American, like they're off to a benefit, and it costs you like $500 a plate or whatever it is, more than that half the time. But I got invited to it by a colleague, so I didn't have to pay. So it's like the biggest, grandest thing I've ever done, because I live quite a, I say simple life in the grey, but it wasn't lavish or anything. So it was the first time I got to experience that kind of thing. but that's and it's just grandiose in a ballroom, and there's people around talking, and I'm totally out of place. And even though I look the part, I don't feel happy there at all.
And you've obviously been in, or your friends invited you along as a +1. You were quite, or you were vaguely known for your kind of holistic approach to healing and drugs and so on. And there's one of the kind of senior doctors who gave like one of the parts of the commencement speech has kind of come up to you and spoke to you, and he's played by Robert Forster, because he's going to have a cameo in this one because obs. And he kind of looks at you and he's quizzing you on, you know, where you get some of your connections between the drugs and the chemicals that you use, because you seem to be following some very unusual.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was. I wouldn't say that it was an influence from the actuality, but I'm guessing it was. But it was just connections that I'd made through study.
Yeah.
And it was, you know.
The chemicals just talk to me, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like in the conversation, it's as natural and as normal as it would seem, but it was just, as I say, I'd travelled throughout the world and, you know, seen spoken to different cultures and kind of taken it from those kind of things, but actually it wasn't, because I haven't done those things. But
and of course that last procedure that you put together by combining, and he gives 2 ingredients, didn't meet FDA approval.
No,
did it? But it worked 100%. It's just there was too many risks of side effects, which is a damn shame.
And that's what I'm working on, to try and sort those out, eliminate those, because that's what we're here for. The rare disease. We'll get
Fantastic. The scene changes, and you and him are stood in a hospital, and where you were wearing a ball gown before, you're now in
scrubs.
Well, it's not scrubs, but you're in a lab coat, and he's there and he's got a clipboard, and in a bed in front of you there is a woman who is, if I was to say she's frail and emaciated, that's adding 20 pounds to her.
Right. Okay.
It is like final stages, and almost you've got skin sprayed on things.
Yeah.
And he's kind of flipping through a board. He's saying, "Oh, we don't understand. We added stabilizers to this. Where did you go wrong?" And
I'm panicking the hell out of it, because this shouldn't be happening, and I don't understand it. And it's almost like her family are on the other side of the window.
And then a nurse comes in, and she's saying, "Doctor, we've got another one. There's another one it's happening to."
And I'm trying to keep a composed face, running around, just like muttering to myself constantly, "This shouldn't have happened. What's went?" I'm trying to do the maths and the science in my head, like, where did I go wrong? This shouldn't be, kind of.
And then you see that it goes from being like rows of private cubicles to a massive, great big ward with like beds either side of it. And then there are sort of like people just lying there, and they're getting up, and they're just kind of pointing at you and trying to call out to you, but they're all like supremely gaunt and emaciated with sunken eyes, and they're just pointing and yelling, but there's no sound coming out.
And I run through it and lock myself in a cup and scream, because I've created something nasty. This is never my goal. I don't know what I've done wrong, and that's just constantly, I don't know what I've done. What was it?
And that goes into it. And you wake up.
And screaming. Like I was when I was.
You all wake up at roughly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I look rough. Normally, I look, I am my perfect goth self, but I look.
You've screamed.
I've screamed the crap out of it. I've got like makeup, worst makeup. You forgot to take makeup the night off before, so it's halfway down my face. My hair's dishevelled. I look like I'm an utter mess. and just
I've gone from quite peaceful and placid to like high alert immediately. 'Cause
and I'm
you
like,
when you wake up and then something happens, you're like,
There's somebody else. Your borno vision picks it up very, very quickly. There's somebody sat in the big sofa that's in the front of the.
somebody that we do not know. Somebody that we do not know. Okay.
Well. And I tried to do a voice for this. I tried so hard to copy Matt Mercer doing something, and it's very rare that I would admit to copying him, but it's a thing that he does, which is really good. He's the guy that GM's Critical Role. He's a voice actor that runs.
The problem with Critical Role is that they're all voice actors, so they all do lots of voices, and that gives people unrealistic expectations of what it's going to be like sat around a table. When you've got professional voice actors doing professional voices, it sounds really, really good. Also, ale. Which is I love grog.
Grog is awesome.
One of the voices that I've heard him do is of a mind flayer called Clarota.
Yeah.
And effectively, he gets a lot of his intonations by sounding the words when he's inhaling, rather than anything else. And it's a phenomenal effect, and I can't do it.
I don't want to hear it, Dave. I will poke up an X-code if I need to, Dave.
Please don't. I've got to sleep extra tonight.
It's funny because you start typing Matt Mercer, and Matt Mercer mind flayer voice is pretty much the first thing that pops up on autofill.
It's not so much like that. It's more like now.
This is mine.
Oh, that's mine. Yeah. I thought it was that one. What was that?
That's a brainwave. So,
Have you seen on the subject of mind flayers? Have you seen the trailer for Baldur's Gate 3?
No.
Oh yeah.
So this voice, it's also a bit like, you know, the dwarf from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He speaks backwards and then foot forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy learns how to say his lines backwards, or he was quite talented at doing it anyway. So he could reverse all the phonemes.
Right.
Then they recorded it, then reversed it. So it's still just that little bit wrong. So
Weird.
yeah, so it's a bit like that.
Okay, I can accept.
But I'm not going to actually do it
Thank
because
you.
yeah. But there's a sardonic twist to it, like.
That's quite the sardonic in the first place.
Yeah. Well. 3 more minds come into my realm. What tasty minds you have. And then this figure kind of stands up, and effectively, if you take David Bowie as Jareth,
Right.
okay, but taller and with no features in the face, and an actually androgynous body that's kind of shifting.
Jareth, if he was played by Doug Jones.
Exactly.
Yes. And voiced by Matt Mercer. Make it happen.
This is not magic. You'd need magic.
So this figure kind of stands up from where it's been sat on the sofa, and then walks around the sofa, and then just kind of leans on it backwards.
I flinch. I'm like, unknown.
Yeah. What brings you travellers to my realm?
We're looking for the Horn of Eld.
Oh yeah.
And so I tell him, we've come for the horn. Oh, please, children.
That was her. I had nothing to do with this.
No, it was him smirking.
Can't tell you to any that counting.
There are many people that leave this realm with the horn. If there's something specific.
I fix him with the full-blown Idris Elba intense stare. You know full well what I mean.
Idris Elba versus David Bowie. Stare off.
Slash Doug Jones.
Slash Doug Jones. Oh, Idris Elba and Doug Jones as a stare off. That, okay.
We need Idris Elba in Discovery now.
He's done Star Trek already. He was in the J.J. Abrams verse. Yeah. I like that one. That was good.
Who was he in that again?
He was the bad guy into the third one.
I haven't seen the third one.
Beyond. Not Beyond? Yeah, Beyond. He was the bad guy in the third
I
one.
haven't seen that one.
No, it's good. It's
Is it better than the second? Because the second one ruined
I
it.
loved the first J.J. Abrams film.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. Went along to the second one with really, really high expectations. Oh, you've done The Wrath of Khan, but bad.
Yeah.
You made Benedict Cumberbatch boring. It's uncumberbatchable.
So this figure kind of stands up and walks over. Are you all still sat in the beds, or have you got?
No,
I am.
I'm stood.
I am
and,
cowering
both
back
of
on the
my
bed
hands are
like I
hovering
do
near the
not
guns.
like this guy at all.
Okay. And the figure kind of walks past, and he looks at Snowball, and he kind of goes to put a hand on your head, and there's an extra finger, an extra digit joint on each of the fingers. Says, "May I?"
Yes.
So he kind of rests a hand on your head, and it is both cold and clammy, and like holding a red hot wire where his fingers are touching you at the same time. And the head kind of twitches, and it's like, there are many layers in there, aren't there?
There's no coming to find out.
I would offer some assistance, but I believe this is the sort of thing that you wish to do at your own pace.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Miss Hawke, Mr. Deshane, you come into my realm and bring such delicious nightmares with you, such guilt that you both carry, the weight of all of the souls of the people that you've killed, every bullet fired from those guns of yours, every wild night and every hangover morning. I can take those if you wish.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm quoting Shatner. I need my pain. My pain is what makes me who I am. Stay out of my head.
It kind of stands up a bit further back, and it almost does the whole Picard manoeuvre with the. It's kind of.
Does it do the reverse Riker?
Yeah. It's wearing clothes that they're not clothes. It's just kind of shimmering layers of force around it, and it's got feathers over its collar, but it kind of like pulls the front of it down and smooths off. And then with these sort of extra digited hands, it stands there and it goes, a most definite perception. I would say though, traveller from Gilead, you may find more than you had expected in my realm.
A slight wry smile kind of comes across Roland's face. Are you threatening me? Get in line.
It's no threat. No threat whatsoever. No threat is intended. But this is the realm of the mind, and many travellers who come here find areas of their own mind that they had left buried and hidden, that they would rather do without. And I do believe that there are many places in here, and it reaches out one of its very long spindly fingers and doesn't quite touch the tip of it too far. There are places in here that you keep locked, deeper than I've seen already. Now, I am not one to go probing. I do not travel where I am not wanted.
And I burst out into you lie, because you've just opened stuff I've repressed for such a long time. I didn't need to know that. I'd forgotten about that, and I don't think it was my choice.
Now, whereas this man is carrying some form of guilt, and I make no apologies that by coming here, that has been unlocked. But as a wise man once says, to get out, you've got to go in. And I believe that at some point, you are going to have to face those demons. Only by facing them can you truly gain understanding for what you want.
Maybe. But I'm not happy with you right now.
This is the gatekeeper of the realm, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to...
Much drugs made me forget what I did.
So I'm going to sort of like slightly intersperse myself between Hawk and the gatekeeper.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Your dream was a memory that you had, then it became twisted, and it wasn't real. It got worse. Was what Hawk saw real, or was it again twisted and made worse?
No, that happened.
Okay, just checking.
So yeah, I slightly interspersed myself in between the two of them. Are you satisfied, gatekeeper? You speak of doors, and we're here at the threshold of your realm. Are you satisfied? May we enter now?
It takes 3 or 4 steps back, but the legs are just moving in a slightly wrong way, like that whole Sadako out of the TV thing, and says, the realm was always open for you to come. You have spent time here before, and you have been here on many occasions, although mentally, not physically.
Drugs can do a wonderful thing.
I would give you all a gift. And then he kind of turns its hand over, and there are 3 large glass spheres, and it's doing the whole
Contact juggling.
contact juggling.
Oh, there was a lady at MCC doing that this year. It was creepy but really cool.
Think of these as ways out. Sometimes this realm is easier to get into than it is to get out of. And he kind of just flicks them, and then one of them kind of comes arcing towards each of you.
I catch it and without looking kind of tuck it into my man satchel.
It's not purse, it's not a purse.
Mine just lands in my
purse.
lap.
Yep.
And I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay,
It's totally a man bag.
deal with you when I have to.
Just catch it and put it in a pocket or whatever I have with me.
And it stands up and turns round, and then turns round again, and then looks at you and he says, if you ever want that, just kind of wiggling a finger at your head, unravelling, come here and call for me.
Oh, is that some spectral booty call?
Every time somebody says this recently, I'm reminded of the whole thing of being a parent. Booty call means a whole different thing. Mum, can you wipe my butt?
Booty call and butt dial, same meaning, different meanings. So yeah, and it kind of
Memory my sister did.
folds away and takes a few steps backwards, and then it just kind of crimps into itself over.
Super tasty soup. Not that type of crib.
No,
Oh.
just kind of shrinks in until it's like a point and a single glass sphere, which then just winks out and disappears. And then Brian's voice comes over the intercom and says, well, that was fun, wasn't it, Doug?
Brian.
Wrong, Brian.
By Jove, I don't think I've ever seen them that involved in people coming to this realm. Especially not if you've been here before.
That's news to me.
Might want to get that head checked out before you travel anywhere else then.
My head's fine.
Mine was self-inflicted.
What I'm going to do, I'm not going to refer to him as Brian, I'm just going to refer to him as Ship. How long until we make land?
We're here.
Excellent.
Good, I need off here, I think.
I reach into my satchel and I'm going to use my my forte ability to call object from metaphor, and I'm going to pull out a kind of you know, like the mints you get at fancy hotels on the pillow.
Yeah.
And I hand you that. Sweet dreams are made of these.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
What?
That's The realm of the blue sun is the realm of idea and concept and mind and memory. There is no land. So effectively it's like an eternal floating
It's lumpy space.
zone, lumpy space. So it's a bit more like
Lumpy Space Princess.
you know in theory all of the planets or all of the realms in Flash Gordon are like moons, but in the same solar system. So there are kind of congealed areas of thought where something sticks and then it kind of grows and then grows up like that. But generally speaking, you kind of travel through the ether between them.
The Aurora Power, we don't need things to transport us from bits of
It
road.
helps, but you know, if your will is strong enough, then you can make your way between the different sort of islands and realms and so on. And it looks like
Is a library around.
you've been dropped at a great library, and it's the kind of remembered part of the Library of Alexandria. So you've got a vast building.
Crap, I can't read cuneiform. Never mind. History joke.
Oh, okay.
Also, if it's a dream, you can't remember what you read anyway.
That's not true. Because they say, oh, you can't read in dreams. I totally read in my dreams.
I can't remember my dream.
So, library.
So the horn that we're looking for.
The vision that I had was that it was atop a mountain in a temple or a shrine somewhere in the blue.
So library, try and see if we can find anything that matches that, kind of similar to what we did when we went to...
Is it like a dream where we can kind of control it, like lucid dreaming? We can kind of say...
No, you're actually really here.
I know that.
Yeah.
But in a dream, if you're lucid dreaming, you can control what's happening around you. So rather than we're in a library and we've got to look at something, we can just imagine it and it will come to us.
I can't reach this.
Should I need to get it for you?
No, got it.
I can't reach this scratch. Do you want me to get it for you? No, I've got it.
Just reach that extra centimetre. Sorry.
Do your words.
You can certainly try and warp that into reality. If you can make me a challenge 7 intellect based task, and you will need 2 successes, so you'll have to spend some sortilege.
Can I spend intellect or
Yep.
sortilege?
You'll have to spend 1 point of sortilege to get the extra dice, and that brings it down to difficulty 6. So you need a pair of 6s.
Can I borrow that scratch?
7.
That's it. Just
8.
You did Hoover face.
Fantastic. So effectively, yeah, you. Actually, I'm going to draw a new card.
Let's go to the bathroom.
Oh, the fleeting moment. I don't think we've had that one before.
No.
That is the one of mysteries.
That's what happened in the grave. For it to go very, very wrong. I started losing the plot, man. They created something really bad.
You created the T virus.
That's why I was helping them and helping them. But it didn't, and that's why I'm trying to
What's
do
the
that
T
now.
virus from? Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah.
Since you mentioned we were on.
Are they blockers?
But to be honest, after that bit, I get bored with that song. So, you know Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie? I found out the other day that the guy that they've got playing John Deacon was Tim in Jurassic Park.
The little kid.
The little boy from Jurassic Park. It's down that end. That's all right.
Hello.
Nobody here.
I don't mind.
For the Jedi, it is time to eat as well.
Dinner's on the
Pencil down.
top of the thing.
Thank
It's a nice one.
Mole.
I may or may not have spat in it.
Mole.
Protein.
I'm going to quickly go grab one of my scratches.
Stevie.
Quiet. Is it?
Oh,
Just saying,
the spine.
Yeah, so you kind of realise that happens in dreams from time to time, and then you kind of try and you think really hard, and then yeah, there's like an atlas of the realms of the blue. Describe to me this temple that the Horde resides in.
It's kind of like the Tulka's temple from The Shadow. So it's sort of like a Tibetan sort of Buddhist monastery sort of thing up a mountain. And
Like Batman.
like in Batman.
When he's good training.
No.
More like Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
It's like
I know
when,
what you mean. I think you're right.
like when Bruce Wayne goes training.
Yeah.
No, because that's like a ninja training camp.
Yeah, but that's like a mountain.
Okay.
Temple of Ninj.
Okay, it's the Temple of Ninj.
There is the perfect movie name.
You can't see any of the students though, because they're all ninjas and they're invisible.
Nobody knows the world's best ninja.
or
No, it's too
Kung Fu
late.
Panda.
No, it's too late. It is the Temple of Ninja. It is the Batman Begins thing. Possibly Ken Watanabe with an unconvincing beard is around there somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to go and tell him maybe one of the bags that we just
Yeah.
put downstairs?
Yeah. I'll get that money.
Let's talk about it.
I'll edit that in post and I'll hear what you said because I want.
I love him so much. He is so wonderful.
It's pretty cool.
What?
I wouldn't go that far.
I would be worried if he did.
I'm going to Google Temple of Ninja to see what I can find.
I really want to go up to the camera and just slowly pull it into shot. Well, he's going to see it anyway because he's going to see me wander around here, but still funny.
Okay, well, the first thing that comes up is the Temple of the Ninja in Kanazawa, Japan, which is a bit of a tourist attraction, but
Missed you, Kelly.
it's all fun and I live with that. That's my day.
I was put on this planet to do, people.
So,
Next week we're going to have to bring a photo album with us so I can show everybody what I mean
My
when I say you
baby
have
photo album.
Hoover face. There's a picture of her on your 3rd birthday
Yeah.
with like a little toy Hoover with like the suction cup that sticks to the wall like the plug. But she's just got this sort of like really happy kind of like smile, funny face, and it is my favourite photo ever.
The only time I've ever been that happy about the Hoover is when I got my proper one last year.
But just you can't do the face on demand.
No.
But just occasionally when sort of like something really tickles you, you do the face. It's like, oh, it's Hoover face.
it's like, this is barbarian face.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. When that popped up this morning, that made me, because I was like,
That
I'm
made
been
that made her
tired
do
and really
Hoover
like
face.
knackered. But yeah. And just seeing that, I was just like, yes! Love is the barbarian. I will make her as a character in D&D one day. It's just a little,
She was so excited to have it.
I have the power.
thing is like, is now she will have no concept of understanding why we think that's so awesome.
Just like you don't understand why I think that Hoover face is awesome.
Excuse me.
And when you do Tappy face.
Apparently I pull a terrapin face, or turtle face.
When's Alan, I look like a badger when I'm drunk.
That just maybe because you're from
Two
Europe.
black eyes. Just being in fights with people.
Stick my jaw out in a way that I don't look like a badger.
I can't say I've ever noticed that.
A monocle and a top hat, as badgers are often wont to dress.
Do you know when we went out partying to like rock night? That one time, like
When did you meet? No, because we didn't do that.
no, it was the four of us, and we went out.
To
Yes.
ride. Where everybody thought I was a bouncer.
You do look
It wasn't
bouncerous.
ride. We went to Eclipse or whatever. Not Eclipse.
Crash Manor.
Crash Manor.
That's it.
Yeah, 3 years ago that was.
You go to Crash Run? You go to Crash Run?
Yeah.
And then we went to Envy.
Club Envy. Yeah.
Club Envy, Crash
Yeah.
Manor.
They've got a baby rave there. Crash Manor on the 25th.
What?
Baby rave.
It was a baby race.
Rave that starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and finishes at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. With proper babies. They play it at a low decibel
Yeah.
and then proper rave music with UV lights and
That sounds amazing.
Romantic. It's one of Stella. We went out to Mark Williams's reunion night last week. We were adults. We stayed up till past 1 o'clock. We went and had Jake's afterwards. A fat bastard burger. Brilliant.
Bland cheeseburger with bacon.
Last time my first week up in Warrington, and I met up with my friend who I've not seen from school since for like 17 years. And so, you know, a couple of cocktails, wine was had. We went to the bar, it's like, oh, we've just like called time. Did you really? So then we went and found this other club that was like open. I didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. We had to be in work at 8. I was just sat there like, okay guys. I wasn't like hungover or anything.
Meanwhile,
but I
I'm
was
sat
knackered.
at home waiting for a message from her to say that she'd gotten home safe.
We were waiting for Tom to finish work so he could come pick us up. Because Nick's husband works for the BBC, so he does like the live update things on the app, and so he finished on midnight, and so we had to get that from Manchester to Knutsford where we were. Get the car.
You were in Knutsford? Did you have the Knutsford services while you were
No,
there?
we went past it though.
Oh.
And then we love Knutsford services because of Ross Gilbert.
Yeah.
And she insisted that we had to go and see her Airbnb that's staying in whilst her house is being built. It's tiny, like it's like over like the side, and the roof space of a garage that they're staying in at the minute. But then also meet her cockapoo Ralph, who is so cute. But he locked himself in the toilet, so he'd gone into there to like drink. He'd got like cold water, whatever was in there. But he'd shut the door on himself, so all we could hear was.
So,
What?
There's the weasel.
Hello.
what, has Astraeus just arrived?
Oh gosh. Straight from the dream world, that's not going to go well.
We leave him. Where
What?
do we leave him?
He'd disappeared.
He disappeared, didn't
I disappeared with him myself.
he? No.
I've come back.
No, you basically when you came back, you just told them to get out and then teleported them out, but it felt very different from the normal green lines and Bulbasaur teleportation.
I think somebody might have taken over you.
This
over me.
This
Yeah.
teleport was more like Blue Lightning and Skynet.
We think it might be 9, don't we?
Stop being silly. I just wanted you out of the
19.
house.
19 has taken over.
19, that's what
I saw some things and I wanted some space to learn. I'm sorry for being angry and abrupt leaving. It was a
Can
lot.
we, when we're around,
Yeah.
one of us like just goes, I wonder how Astraeus is doing, and then he doesn't pop in, but an imagination of him does.
Somebody else wants to do that. Level 7 intellect-based task, needing 2 successes. I think those are.
What, to imagine Astraeus here?
No, to kind of do a check-in, like a floating orbo vision.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I meant is imagine him here.
Really like pops
Like yeah, not a real him, but a dream version of him.
But the real him's just shown up.
Is
Yeah.
it really?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Oh.
Give me 2 seconds.
So
Okay.
Ignore that then.
Yeah.
If you've got things in plan.
Yeah.
I was trying to help.
So, the Temple of Ninja.
Yep.
What did it look like?
It's just... It's the one from Batman Begins now.
Yes. Snow blowing in and
But we've got to find the Temple of Ninja.
Well,
to strange it.
Well, I thought that the whole point was that in this dream world, we weren't going to go to the mountain. We were going to bring the mountain to us. There's a parable in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mountain is actually Hatful Bjornsson.
this
But he looks like a bear.
mountains don't exist.
Dogs can't look up.
So you kind of get the fix on where this temple is, and you kind of like look around for a fast travel walk point to get from one place to the next, because it's a dream realm and you can do that sort of thing.
Can we have a flying mattress like Podsworth and Company?
Yeah.
I thought we'd literally just go. We're there. We are there.
It helps if you've got a means
Mode
to.
of transportation.
I like that.
mattress it
Podsworth
is.
and Company.
Does anybody else remember Podsworth?
Yes, yeah, totally do.
Oh, it was a TV show about a bunch of kids who went into the dream world and kind of fought off nightmares. And their little
Podsworth
teddy
was a
bear
dog.
was Pods. Was it a dog or a teddy bear?
Vaguely, yeah.
But, and they flew on a mattress.
I do know you
But the
say
bed
this.
knobs and broomsticks thing, that works quite well. 1/4 turn to the right.
Left.
Right. In my world, it's right because left is sinister.
Yeah,
Angela Lansbury turns up and offers us a lift.
don't go with Angela Lansbury, you will die.
Life just comes straight from the heart.
So you rent a bed.
By the hour.
You're renting a bed to go and get the horn. Hashtag phrasing.
What kind of insane world are we in where I'm the most sensible person at a table?
And
Yes, we went to bed.
it seems like only just in a blink of a moment that you are stood and you can see a mountain in the distance with a building at the top of it, and then there is a light pulsing from that building. However, between you and that mountain, on the foot of the mountain, is a ruined city. A very familiar looking ruined city. It's the city of Gilead.
Do we recognise it? Does only he recognise
You've
it?
got
It has a very different meaning to me.
some kind of vague sensation to it. When you were in shadow, did you ever get stationed anywhere like in a city?
Yeah.
Kind of thing? Yeah. So it feels like when you had a deployment in Syria. Was it Assad? No. Capital city. That's literally
Let's pick a different
yeah.
country.
That's been bombed and shelled and ruined.
London, 1946.
Yeah.
And there are buildings still standing tall, but you know that they're just basic facades, and the entirety of the inside of the buildings have been gutted. This is not the wastelands that make up the majority of Saturnine at the moment. This is the result of actual, real, direct, physical war.
And recent war.
And recent. Very recent.
Like smoking still recent? Or
Yeah.
Shit went down in the dream world.
Okay.
And you recognise parts of your home city, and you recognise parts of your home city, and you recognise parts of, I'm guessing you're kind of LA?
I was going Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Oh no, not ruins of Boston. They've only just gotten unracist.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to let on that I recognise bits of this as Gilead. I'm just going to push on. I'm going to internalise my grief.
I just go really quiet and like head down.
Don't forget your mint.
I've had the mint.
Oh, okay.
You gave it to me, I opened it.
Not a pleasure to lay, are you?
Revenge is a dish served right,
Get your retaliation in early.
Yeah. The Swan. Grace under pressure, elegance and movement. And that is the 6 of visions.
But because it's the dream world and it's all amorphous, it's like the old Mr. Soft advert.
Oh, that's scary.
Mr. Soft.
Oh, Mr. Soft, why does everything in your world feel so? Oh, it's a creepy advert for
No.
mints.
I don't know that one. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thomas may not know, for he is too young.
Yeah, now I remember. Soft mints.
Yes.
Creepy.
And it seems to take both no time at all and hours to traverse the length of the city. And you have to kind of cut back and switch back here and there. And you keep on seeing, just at the shadow of your eyes, just flickering images of people. But when you look, they're not there. They're not registering on your kind of...
One of you.
They don't exist when I don't see them.
Yeah. And it's tense because you know that whatever's happened here has happened relatively recently, so you're kind of being wary for traps and ambushes and munitions and so on. But there's just not. It's not coming together, and it is so kind of deathly quiet. And you can still hear wind kind of whistling between the buildings, and you're almost jumping at shadows, and you do that whole thing where one of you kind of kicks a brick accidentally, or a can just goes skittering off, and and guns come out and shots get fired. So it is real sort of suspenseful motion, and then, as I said, in both no time at all and several hours, you find yourself at the foot of this mountain, with a pathway that kind of switches back up to it at the top.
Is it the steps like from Kung Fu Panda?
It's 10,000 steps like in...
Kill Bill.
No, Skyrim.
Oh, I hate this bit. There's always a dragon halfway up.
It's
There
just
is now.
it's just that one troll. If
Yeah.
you're not expecting.
Oh, yeah, the frost
The
troll.
first time when you went up there.
Thunk. Oh, it's a troll. Whack. Oh, that regenerates lots of its health back. Whack. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh no, it whacked back.
On the run. I haven't even learned how to Fusro Dar properly. I can't even go Fusro Dar and knock him off the
You just
mountain.
go, "Whoos."
Now I'm just going to have to leg it all the way to the top of the mountain and hope that it loses interest.
No, because they don't.
And there is no button to play dead.
That troll will follow you to the ends of the frickin' earth.
What'd you do?
Prepare for trolls.
Yeah.
Walk up.
Where do these stairs go? They go up.
Yeah.
Let's
So
go
I
up the
just
I
pull
stairs.
my
imagine
I pull
it's
my
in the
coat
same
closer
ways.
because it's
In no time at all,
colder.
and a few hours we make it to the top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it seems to be taking absolutely ages.
Is it one of those, like, no matter how far you go, you're not making any headway?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay.
It's like the ironing.
It's like walking
I don't know
Snowden.
what.
It's like the ironing. Oh no!
Can you all make me some kind of like perception-y based checks, please? It's difficulty 5.
How do I do this?
Difficulty 5.
Mhm.
If you've got
1.
spotting danger or so on, and you can spend
I'm going to spend a
a Benet to bring it down to a 4.
Benny, that's a 4.
Oh, Benny's will help me in this
Benny,
one.
and it got a 7. So.
I've rolled a 1.
I rolled a 1.
Fantastic.
I'm having a Dave day with the
Yeah.
dice today.
So something
And that's
triggers
spreading
your
to me.
Bordeaux vision, and you get the inkling that something's just quite not right. And there's and there's a kind of twinkling in the air ahead of you, like there's a lenticular effect coming towards you. And if you can all make a level 5 withstand check, please.
Oh, great. This is the mental one. No, this is the physical one.
I got a 9.
No.
Okay, so that's 2 injuries.
2 injuries.
Not wounds, not wounds. Injury, 2 damage.
This has
Yeah,
gone
I
well.
have one to watch out. Because I saw the thing, so what was it?
You saw something.
I've got 2 injuries.
Yeah. There's. So you get kind of hit by some, like, bolt of ice
Cold.
and cold.
It's cold.
It's one of those frost things. Can't remember what they're called.
What you
It's
doing?
marshmallow from Frozen. Yeah.
Have I seen it now?
Yeah.
I'd like to shoot it, please.
Okay.
So, ranged 2. So there's 2 there, and they're level 2 guns. That's 4, and the 5. So that's 9,
9, okay. The bullet goes clear straight through it.
and doesn't damage it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Stubborn.
Not going to use Make a Practice and copy him because that didn't work. What is it, sorry?
It's like a I can't remember what the name of the creature is from Skyrim, but I'm thinking of the right sort
It's
of
a
thing.
frost white. Well, you don't know exactly what it is, but it's kind of an invisible
What's it look
patch.
like?
It's like, you know, lenticular covers on comic books, and you hold them at different angles and it
You know the
refracts slightly
Predator?
differently.
No.
Oh,
Is it like the effect in Doctor Strange where they shape things without the lightning?
A
In the
little.
mirror world?
Yes, a little bit.
And this is a what shape?
It's just a patch, a patch of haze.
But it looks like a sentient patch rather than...
It's moving
it's
in
like
a deliberate pattern.
it's like a cloud of sort of
Lenses in the air.
lenses, like lots and lots and lots of ice crystals in this thing, so that it just refracts all of the light and is all weird.
Okay, but is there like appendages that look like a being? So
No, nothing you can.
it doesn't look physical either.
No.
Okay. So I just want, because I'm not familiar, well, I suppose none of us should be familiar, so game of knowledge, blah, 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 blah. But it looks like it's trying to attack us because it's hurt them. How did it hurt them?
From what you saw,
Yeah.
there was some kind of spell or magic effect that went from it to them, and they got covered in frost and ice.
So fire might help.
Might do.
I can shape stone, and we're on a mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and I can shape it into lava.
No.
Okay,
Not
just
yet. Yep.
okay. Well, this shape stone, I can shape stone of a mass similar to mine, or destroy stone, so I can move it out of the ground, but it retains its same form.
Yeah.
Does it appear to be interacting with the ground?
No, it's floating.
Okay. I can do weavy things because I'm pretty sure I've got fire or something. Okay, so I'm going to do heat and obstacles and try and put a ring of fire around it.
Yeah. What level are you going to cast it at? You can do up to level 6 with 2 aggregates.
I think I would like to do it at level 6.
Yep.
So that's all 3?
Yep.
3, 5, 6.
And then 1 red dice.
1 red dice, 1 blue dice.
Yep.
3 and a 4. That's fine. Is it? Okay. Right.
So, ring of fire just kind of lights up around it, and this thing seems to be trapped on the inside, and it's kind of, you know, in Star Trek where somebody's surrounded by a force field, and then they touch it and it goes, "Zzz," and it's doing that sort of thing.
Okay.
Hawk, what are you doing?
Not a lot apart from freezing my balls off. Because there's not a lot. I'm too cold.
Kel, you always do this in combat in every game.
Yeah,
You just
because I
say,
can't think of what to do because my brain is dead right now. I'm thinking.
Can I have a look for you? What's it?
"Have the time and the place for that?"
I used all the good stuff in the last one. Around.
Thank
Could you threaten it?
Not really.
Can you impede it? Impede it?
Why not? Because well. Yeah, that is it to everybody. So I was trying to get up there as well. So
It's not just directed. Okay. Have you got any? Because you've got your pockets are holding, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you have all random crap in your pockets.
Yeah.
So it's quite reasonable to suggest that you could throw something on my fire to make it burn hotter and brighter.
Surely you've got some flammable stuff in there, or some
It's
booze.
quite possible, isn't it? That you should have something like that.
What have you got on your ingredients list?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And if not, just keep it trapped to actually destroy it. Or to choke it, or to anything.
Special. Ooh, okay. I've got some salt. I'm gonna rub into my pockets. Pull it out like because I've got
Salt burn.
no
Salt melts eyes.
salt melts eyes.
Ah.
So yeah, and I've got like a bag of it, I guess. Just throw that at it.
Supernatural study.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, can you make attack roll, please? Based on accuracy. Level 5. Actually, no, level 3, because it's...
One.
So you only...
That's my eyes.
Yeah. The wind just takes it.
This thing is kind of just... and it's butting against the barriers of this flame thing, and every time it does, you can kind of... You don't hear it squealing, but you remember hearing it squealing. So it's like, you know it's made a noise, but you haven't actually heard it, but the sound's gone straight into your memory. Roland.
So it's already trapped in the fire, so there's not much point me trapping it further. I can cast a protective sign. Does that just affect me, or does that affect...
Or whatever you cast a sign on. But it's normally just one person.
Yeah, I'm going to cast
Does it look like it's going to break out anytime soon?
It's trying to.
Yeah, does it look like it's going to?
Your fire's down quite a bit.
I don't know if we could just carry on and leave it there.
Can I trap it within a circle? I will try and trap it within a circle. So I will we're on a mountain. There's already a ring of fire around it, so I'll use the ring of fire as like the basis of it, and then I'll just grab something, and in the kind of snow around it, I will draw what I need. So, what do I need to roll?
I don't think you do, but it's going to take you like 2 turns to.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell them.
I'm gonna shout. Do you need any help drawing this? Because it's quite big.
No, just keep it busy.
Okay.
And I'm gonna set to work.
Okay.
Sorry.
So he starts doing it, and this, like I say, it's flashing against the fires quite a bit, and the fires look like they're dying down. What do you do?
In fuego.
Can I get through the fire soaked again? Can I try again?
Yeah. Well, you don't need to roll again. Just spend some more sorcery. Just to,
Six.
pardon?
I've got 6.
How much do you have left?
4.
You can spend that much, and that will top it up a bit.
You know me. I'm not good at spending everything.
If I'm doing the circle, that precludes me from doing anything else at the same time.
Is there anything in your inventory that would have made fire burn?
I think. No. I'm trying to make something on the spot that's like take too long, so I'm just trying to think. Is there anything around? Yeah, what's on the floor around me? Is it just rocks and
It's rocks and snow.
snow?
Okay, I'll spend magic to keep it trapped for just a bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of I guess just using the smaller rocks to be able to try and make some kind of like fuse them together, and when on impact they like burst, kind of like a mini grenade or something, just from the rocks that are around with grenades. Yeah.
Okay, can you make me a making check, please? Difficulty 7.
So I'm gonna use the sausage.
And intellect based.
Sure, put that in there too.
That brings you down to 6. And spend the grey one as well. That takes you back up to 7.
Forgot about them. 6 and 7.
Nice.
Fantastic. So yeah, you pick up a handful of smaller stones, and
I'd like to add some blue to it as a catalyst. Boom.
yeah.
Don't
So-
blow the mountain up.
No, it's only a little bit.
So you've got, like I say, a handful of these tiny pebbles, and in a manner that would not happen in the real world, they kind of fuse together with the blue. So it kind of looks like a grenade, but in between all
It's
of
like
the
a
bits
bath
of
bomb.
And do it, throw it at her.
Okay, you've been making it this turn, so
Yeah.
I think next turn you can throw it.
Mhm.
So and this thing's just, you kind of pour more magic into this weave that you've got going around it, and that means it flares up again. But again, it's just kind of hissing, and so you get this memory of screaming, and it's touching at the walls of these things, and the flies are dying down again somewhat. You finish building your
Circle.
circle around it. So just as you kind of finish and put the last pebble or rock or mark in place, the flame effect that you've got around it just dies and stops. And whereas it kind of like just goes to lurch out towards yourself when you're doing something, it kind of gets caught in the middle of this circle that Roland's put around it.
Cool. Let's leave it.
Leave it here.
Oh, I'm going to keep this on me then. Because I've not thrown it at it yet, so that goes back up my pocket. So we have a Grenade of blue.
A blue and rocks grenade.
Blue rock grenade. So we need it.
Blue on the rocks.
A hunter. The adept of whatever that one is. Notions.
Oh, can I have tea, please? Just normal size tea.
Oh, thank you.
Alright.
So you get up into the Temple of Ninj, and it's massive, kind of ornate,
You got that love ninja.
shine like thunder.
Toby
And-
Johnson. Sorry, killed me.
And in the, so it's, you know, oh, what's that temple, the one from Indiana Jones, where
The
it's,
Temple of Doom.
no, not that one. Last Crusade, that Buddha statue that's kind of built into the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
It's on the Silk Road.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
So there's a,
I don't know. I could have just asked. Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
so there's, let's say it's a giant, so the mountain's got like a flat side to it, and there's a giant kind of squat figure that seems to be mostly human, but somewhat distorted in the way that it appears, and you can't quite look at it straight. And then the doorway,
Like in an Eldritch, it kind of makes my brain hurt to look at it
yeah,
sort
that
of
kind
way.
of thing. And then there's a doorway that's probably about sort of 15, 20 foot tall and about 30 foot wide, and one of the doors is slightly open.
Mm-hmm.
And stood at in the doorway, there is a figure that's kind of a little bit too wrong. Again, you can't look directly at them, but you know that there's somebody there. And it is voiced by Ken Watanabe, but again, I'm not going to do the accent because I'll get it wrong. The guy that played Mr. Tall in The Vampire's Assistant.
Oh, okay, thank
Him,
you.
yeah.
I have not seen that.
It's a film. It's definitely the first of a series, and it's based on a YA book, and it's all right, but I don't think they're going to do the rest of the films. There's a lot of big names in it. It's got Salma Hayek, Ken Watanabe. It's got what's his name? Green Goblin,
Dane DeHaan or the original one?
the original one.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. It's got him in it. And a few there's a lot of names. I'm not sure who plays the vampire that turns the kid into a vampire. But yeah, it's a film.
That's Brad Pitt, wasn't it?
No, that's a YA vampire film.
The only young adult vampire film I can think of at the minute is that one with Nicholas Lipnicki in it.
The little vampire.
That's the one. Okay, so what does Katsumoto want with us then?
You are travellers from Satyrine, yes? Word travels fast. Come inside.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll stop.
No, there's nothing wrong. That sounds quite a lot like him in The Last Samurai, actually. I'll practice on my English. I'm going to use my board. Okay.
Yes, I'm going inside because it's bloody freezing out here.
And when you say he looks wrong again, it's this sort of eldritch thing.
Like you can't quite focus on him. Like your eyes just keep on slipping past him.
Okay. I'm going to put on my glasses.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm having problems looking at him, so I'm going to slip my Stephen King specs on. Thanks, yes.
Does have Mr. Cookie on the inside. Yeah.
And when you look at him through the glasses, he's normal. He's average height, average build, average coloured hair, average coloured
It's
eyes.
a bit unremarkable, really.
He's beige made
Yeah.
flesh.
Yeah.
Not like the beige that we ran away from.
He's the beige of a Great British buffet.
I mean, is he like literally like a kind of colourless?
No, there's
It's just so unremarkable.
Okay. I look at the statue. What does the statue look like through my glasses?
it's the same.
Still, perhaps my brain,
Yeah.
even with the glasses. All right. I'll leave the glasses on for a minute though. Call object from metaphor. Beer goggles for the rest of you.
Really?
No. Although I was tempted.
It has been many years since this temple has been visited by so many people at once. There must be great reason and call for you to be here.
We're in search of the horn.
You seek the grail. No, we I've come to find the Horn of Eld.
And what makes you think the horn is yours to claim?
I'm of the line of Eld.
Good point.
Okay.
No, I'm not actually going to do it because it will completely destroy the scene. But call object from metaphor. Here is the receipt that I left with the chair. I'm of the line of Eld. I'm Roland Deshane, the last of my name, and I have come to reclaim the horn that was once mine.
Yeah, what he said.
By birth and blood right. By blood and birthright, even. Yeah.
It's mine. Give it back.
Is there
Who
any-
takes his back to his-
Oh,
I invoke the ancient right of Yoink.
Isabel said earlier, I don't care what I want.
It has been a long time since someone from your line has travelled outside of the city. You say you are the last of the gunslingers?
I don't reply, but give him a what do you think sort of look.
Starting to sound like Poirot.
And do you intend to use this artifact for the defense of the rose or to bring it down?
It's obviously defense. I'm just trying to think of.
How does he know it's anything to do with the rose? Is that
He's,
common
he's, a,
knowledge?
he's a mystical temple keeper.
Yeah, but
He's got plot device armour.
He's Ken Watanabe and Tilda Swinton.
With a hint of
Oh,
Poirot.
Yeah.
He did have a friend.
The horn will be
It's,
used to
fire
defend the rose
MacGuffin.
and the tower which it represents.
You are aware of the story concerning what happens to those who would claim and use the horn.
No. Do you?
The first, it calls for 3 blasts on the horn. The first is to bring the tower down. The second is to rebuild the tower. And the third to restart the whole of reality.
So you never really want to blow this horn.
One must have courage of one's convictions.
The true worth of the horn is not in the blowing. I knew what I was saying.
Then he gives you that Ken Watanabe smile and goes, #frizzing. But it does not.
I thought we were practicing my English. This does not seem English. No. There are more ways to. Trying to think of how Roland would say it. The worth of the horn is more than just as an instrument.
To signal the end of one cycle and starts the beginning of another.
He's definitely on Poirot this time.
He has, yeah. You may take the horn.
I
And
tap threaten. I one heel do my little Roland bow.
and when it has finished with you, you will bring it back.
Take the horn from him. And what I don't tell him is that when it has finished with me, I won't be able to bring it back. It is known. Right, we're done. Let's go home.
Got little Orby things.
Should we use the little Orby things to go home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Click my little spurs together. There's no place like home.
I mysteriously could do the contact juggle thing and off we go.
Can you do contact juggling with? Oh, you can with just one. I suppose you kind of.
CG
I
and the
completely
thing.
forgot to practice contact juggle. Thank you for reminding me.
Whereabouts are you heading back to?
The rose.
Do we want to use these to get right out of the blue and back to? We can't use it to get straight into the rose. The rose is warded to all.
Next to the rose.
But yeah, outside the
Or the coffee shop that's
That's
Not
not
Beano's.
That's not Beano's.
my house.
yeah, let's go to your house.
Let's go to your house. Do we want to make a portal directly from here to somewhere where one of us lives? Because all I'm worried about is
What fun is this?
what comes through with us or follows us.
I'm
I've seen
screwed.
Howard the Duck.
I'm screwed anyway, so you know. Whatever.
Also,
if it's gonna find me,
There
if
was
it
wax
find me.
carnage when we left. What's our whole city?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Or was the whole city affected,
Yeah.
not just the.
No.
Wait, what? Wait, what? What happened?
Yeah.
Do you remember that episode of Doctor Who when they had like these people made of wax?
The rebel
Yeah.
flesh.
Yeah.
Those.
So they were there. And they were trying to kill us, and then they just started melting and things. And that happened all over the city. Yeah.
Goblets of wax were falling from the sky, and when it landed on people, it turned them into like a wax
So we
goblin.
may as well
And
head
it's
back to
been
my flat
filming
because
in
it's a
the
safe
flash
zone and.
Okay. We go straight back to Hawk's flat.
Okay, you all wake up, kind of crashed out on Hawk's sofa.
With the horn.
With the horn.
I was in Morningwood, but I've actually got the horn.
It's almost
Coffee.
as if I had like the weirdest dream.
Coffee now, lots of it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. Does anybody want coffee?
Yeah.
I will pop the percolator on.
You're out of coffee.
When I want coffee. Do you see that? They're breaking down.
We are not out of coffee.
Or am I?
We are not out of coffee at all. I pull out my Lamont configuration and open the lid. There's coffee.
Well, you poured all of that out on the floor.
I scooped a bunch back in,
Not as much as there was in there in the.
but enough. Never go anywhere without coffee.
And you just hear this it's dripping into the pot.
Is the horn of a size that I could open the lid and put it in?
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in there as well, so that it's not obviously on my person.
Okay.
What were you thinking
I
of?
don't know.
I
really didn't know
I
what you were
also
talking
could look
about.
around
I'm
and
not
toast.
keystering it. That's not going in the prison wallet.
Ew.
Although I can blow it from there with no problems.
Ew.
Quick, we're in trouble. Feed Roland beans.
Coffee beans, so they go through quicker.
I can't remember what is that coffee that's made from.
Civet.
Civet
Civets.
coffee.
It's amazing. It's the smoothest coffee. It's so smooth.
Yeah, you weren't too fast, were you?
Smoother than butter.
What's that?
Civet
Smoother
coffee.
than Saturn.
The coffee beans are fed to civets and they eat them and then they poop them out.
What?
and then
So
they-
like the most expensive coffee in the world stuff?
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, they actually get the civets to pick and eat the cherries.
Yeah.
and then they
And then they
poop
sieve them out and then.
Wonderful.
It's
Pretty-
as soft as silk to drink. That's like.
It's you would choke to death trying to drink silk.
Yeah, but if you like licked silk and then make that's the smoothness of silk from licking it.
You
and you
licked
turn that
silk
into
over.
coffee. Yes.
It's not a pleasant experience.
I imagine it's the sort of thing that would set my fillings off.
So you get coffee
And around the toast.
and around the toast. Well, actually, the one thing you can't get past is the fact that your bread's gone mouldy.
Okay, if I get that, then I'll look through my cupboard.
How long have you gone?
Pop tarts.
Yeah, I have Pop Tarts because they last forever.
Do you have Pop Tarts that are in fact a
Amazing.
Pop Tart shell, but it's burrito inside?
Breakfast burrito.
Breakfast burrito Pop
Yeah,
Tarts.
no, I just go through my freezer and there's breakfast burritos in there, so there's pop
Excellent. Breakfast burritos.
I
Roland's
have
a
a
happy
Marmite
man.
Pop Tart.
A Marmite Pop Tart. You are my hero. Why are we not funding
What
this?
a Marmite Pop Tart. Okay.
So it's got Marmite
Kellogg's
in the pastry
Marmite Pop
bit,
Tarts.
That'd be.
and then like cheese on the icing
Get
bit.
on it now.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that. We need to
No,
start funding this immediately.
Yes.
I'm down.
Your birthday
Oh.
meal, February.
Marmite Pop Tart.
I'm just going to go to sleep now and wait.
Hibernate.
Can't sleep. Too excited. Can't sleep. Too excited.
That'll be like me in about 4 weeks' time. Ghost.
Yeah, so you get coffee and breakfast burrito.
This is good.
So, I'm going to look out the window. What's going on out there?
Is it still raining wax?
No, the wax is being cleaned up, and there's a few people, because most of your windows look out onto the shopping arcade,
Yeah.
which is covered over anyway.
Yeah.
So that wasn't affected so much. But if you look out the window at the other side, over the devastation, the incident
Yeah.
area, and again there's loads of goblets of wax still on the floor.
So it's kind of decimated our population. I think.
And decimated the population is not everybody got hit and turned into.
But not everybody has to be killed with the decimation of the population.
1 in 10.
Oh.
1 in 10 wasn't it?
No, it's less than that.
Oh, okay.
What
But no,
intensive
but the
life.
decimation zone was.
Pardon? What?
When you did your
So-
summoning,
Yeah.
That's the
still
decimation
there.
zone.
That's significantly
still
more
there.
than 1 in 10.
Do 1 in 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you pass an hour just kind of.
Right. I'm going to try and never go back to the blue unless I really have to.
Yeah, you're never sleeping again. Then.
No.
I recommend more coffee.
No.
So what next? Roland doesn't make out like he's now stumped, but Roland is now stumped.
what were you going to do?
Find
Just
the
guess
horn.
it.
That's all I know. All I know
Who
is
told you that?
nobody told me. It was just sort of like a
you coming back from when you came back from the doors.
yeah. When I was in the doors, somehow being wherever that was, it
I'm
was
gonna.
kind of revealed to me that I needed to find the horn. No,
In our,
not that
mo-
one. Fickle.
in our moment of whatever, I relay what happened in my dream and basically advise that this was something that actually happened when I was in the.
Because we want to know what happened in your dream.
No, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
You don't have to tell us.
No, I want to.
Right.
Because that's what I woke up ridiculous, and it's something that happened whilst I was there. And so, you have all the war and stuff going on here, but I did bad things, man. I thought it was for the good. Well, it's not for the greater
The greater good.
good. Yeah.
Yarp.
And that's why I'm so seeking to do here. But I've forgotten that I'd taken so much recreational substances that it had been pushed to the back of my mind as to that's what had happened in the real, in the brain.
You all get a message at the same time coming across the Dragonfly charms from Eliana,
Ooh, someone's back from holiday.
and she is panicked.
Oh, shit.
She's hurt. Can you get here as quickly as you can?
Shit.
Is it the rose? Okay. Rush.
I am there.
Splitter.
What?
And
Oh look, it's dead friend number 1.
the pub's closed. She's kind of inside, pacing backwards and forwards. She's had her hair cut, so the cut that Brie Larson has in Endgame.
Yeah.
The short hair. She's got that kind of cut going on. She's probably played by Brie Larson now, because
Oh, now I don't like her.
what's wrong with Brie Larson?
So monotone. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, she
Played by
could
the
be.
lady who played
Captain Marvel.
woman in Silence, no?
Oh, Tricia Helfer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Well, Eliane is played by Trish Helfer.
Yeah.
Eliane is aged considerably. But
No, but in
Fine.
her youth. But in her youth.
It is.
I'm not complaining.
Lucifer's mum.
Yes, I know. I know who Tricia
No,
Helfer
no,
is.
I'm just saying Lucifer's mum.
Okay.
And Astreus is there as well.
And is he placing or looking your interest?
I don't know. Are you?
I'm a bit curious as to what's going on.
But she's not anxious about him.
No.
Okay.
You're no longer shining, are you?
No.
But you are still all white-haired.
No.
No.
Oh.
No.
Mm.
He's Astreus, as Astreus was.
Gone grey.
Did we work? No, your hair's back to black. Did we work
I'm
out?
back in black. I'm back in black.
But effectively, you are as you were before all of that aging happened.
Still all the random metal parts.
No,
Just metal legs or nothing metal?
Nothing is
Nothing
practical
metal.
human.
proper legs,
Ooh.
proper arms.
You're a real boy.
Apart from the
You
all
have
black,
to be
apart from the
honest.
all black eyes.
A real demon boy.
It just looks like a fairy from
Only one black eye.
Both of them. Both of them.
Somebody's gone.
No.
Not that kind of black eye.
No, not the kind of black eye. full sclera contacts.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think they would be much fun.
And yeah, and she's kind of pacing backwards and forwards, and
Let's give you an up and down look.
she's sick. I don't know what's happened. She's upstairs. We were on holiday and we were headed to the Silver Sun from somewhere. We've been having drinks, and we got there and she passed out, and it was so scary because we just arrived and then something happened, and I don't know what. I think I pulled us back here. I don't know if it was magic or a spell or something.
Okay. So this is sorry, just lean in. So she's talking about Caliban's upstairs. Okay. I have an ephemeral object. It's called cat leaf. And it's the form of a herb. After ingesting this herb, you can see magic residuum such that if a spell or other magical practice has been cast or performed in the area near you since the last sunrise, you can identify it. So, like, seeing if there's anything around Eliana, not Eliana, but Caliban. And
Okay.
Or is there some more
or
library more
what,
than
what may
anything?
have
Okay.
been cast at them.
So you use that one.
Yeah, but in certain areas of Saturnine and elsewhere where spellcasting is very common, a user of a cat leaf can be quite overwhelmed with information.
Excuse me, Councillor, I need to pop to the boys' room.
That's quite a cool one, actually.
Ooh.
Should make a book for each son.
There is a trace of magic around Eliana.
Okay.
Okay. It is green magic. It is quite potent. And you have heard of an incantation called "There's no place like home." And effectively, it takes you and people that you are near and dear to, both physically and emotionally, back to the place that you call home.
Yeah.
And that will be from anywhere
Yeah.
on the path of suns.
I like it. Even getting through all the wards and things on the roads.
Even.
Huh?
It's a level 13 incantation.
What do you do? She was special.
Well, thing is with incantations is that it doesn't matter what level you are. If you know the incantation, you can use the incantation. The same as with ephemeral objects and magic items. There's no kind of requirement for you to be a certain level to be able to use them.
Okay.
So that that lightning bolt one that Caliban used, that was like a level 11. The wall of Shark's Teeth was level 9.
what is there anything around Caliban?
And around Caliburn, there is. You can all sense the flowing of magic along the path of suns. So you can tell when the active sun changes. So you know instinctively what magic is enhanced and what's diminished at any one time, because there's a natural order of things. So magic comes from the invisible sun, goes in at the silver sun, then heads down the path of suns, turns around, then comes back up the night side at the other direction. To a greater or lesser degree, hopping from one sun to a different sun without or back up the night side of the other side of the path of suns is like shortcutting things. And it's like, if you do it too much, without reattuning yourself to the actual flow of magic along the path of suns, it can cause sicknesses and just magical disconnections. So where you're just not in touch with things. That would be
more of a gradual thing rather than whatever's happened to Caliban.
As you're explaining this to Eliana, she says, well, we were kind of going backwards and forwards. She's got that spell that we can go, well, she can go anywhere and take us. I think we've been to 4 or 5 different places.
Okay. So she tied herself out.
Something like that.
She's
so it's
unraveling.
just a time thing? She's just got to have time and get better?
I don't know.
No, but we know that this can happen. So, and because Eliane is quite new to this, would we know that it was just a time thing? We've just got to readjust and spend some time in one place.
You've heard that if you travel up and down the path of suns outside the order of suns, that it can have quite serious long-term effects. Sometimes it can be healed, sometimes it can't.
Do we know how to heal it?
Off the top of your head, no, you do not.
Okay.
I'm going to have to do some research.
And then she kind of looks at Astraeus and said, I don't know you. You look familiar.
Yeah, it's me, Astraeus. Sawyer.
What happened to the... I've got better.
Yeah. It's just paint.
Okay.
I've painted myself to look like a real person.
That's even more creepy.
Might be able to help you if it's a teleporting sickness.
Yeah, I'll take any help. I want her back.
So I know about.
What?
Because I'm a doctor.
Time heals all wounds.
Mm.
Here's the time that heals all wounds calls object from metaphor.
Ooh.
So the object that you call is an hourglass.
I was going to go to HYME.
I'm going all Heston Blumenthal. It's one of those little pocket watches that's actually tea. So you dissolve it in water and give it to her and she drinks it.
And to help.
Oh, like from his.
And to help find the right amount of time, we'll have the freedom to search for infinity. So we have infinity time.
Infinity.
Infinity. Haha.
Wubba dubba dub dub.
So you make this. So you are kind of weaving.
Almost like the liquid part of the tea, and then yours should be
The
like
flow.
the infusion.
So the could I, instead of using 3 of those, could I use 2?
You
Do I
can't.
need to be a
No, you can't take 2 from the same aggregate.
would it be spirit, distance, and space?
Yeah.
Or creative, wait, for manipulation, it's finding
Okay. Manipulation and
it's finding 1 space. It's finding a 1 in infinity. That's a manipulation,
Okay.
isn't it?
Yep.
Which would it be?
It's up to you. It's your spell.
What are your options?
Because we're trying to heal. We're trying to.
Mhm.
So. Art. We're creativity. We're creativity infinity T. And with the power of 3.
All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle.
We'll do it like that.
Okay. What level?
Not level. Is it level? I've gone the
Capped
level.
at level 11 for 3 aggregates.
10. 5 each side.
And you cast your object.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd
Oh,
like
by the
to-
way, that breakfast burrito that you had,
Yeah.
it tasted like liver and onions. And the coffee that you had tasted like Dr. Pepper.
Would I be able to use a sword glitch as well?
Just for me.
You're going to have 2 red dice as well.
Oh, 2.
Probably still
Standard.
dreaming.
Just for me.
Hmm?
Just me, or did it taste like that for everybody?
No, just for you.
We woke up. The things that we ate taste.
No, tasted normal.
1 red dice. Right.
Mm.
2 red dice. Yeah. That's not a good start.
Why do I feel like Walter Peck is just about to turn off the containment grid?
Yeah.
So we've got 0, 5, and a 6.
The 0 is not on a magic die though. Give it a Cronenberg
Okay.
time.
So you kind of feed this tea down her, and she kind of coughs and splutters, and then coughs up a single black feather, and then wakes up, and she kind of sits up. Where am I?
Where is
You're in
anyone?
the jungle, baby.
And Eliana kind of sits down and puts her arm around her, and she says, "You're home. You're safe. You're with me." Oh. Why?
Is there any magical residue around the feather?
Around the feather?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's blue magic.
Without, I look at Caliburn, I look at the feather, and then without taking my eyes off the feather, I say to Astraeos, "Where's Uzukai?"
Is it Kai?
Then I turn up and, give you the full kind of 1,000-yard stare. Where's Uzukai?
Who's a Kai?
Don't you remember what happened before you teleported us all out of your... Is this a Thomas can't remember, or is this Astraeos is pretending to not know?
Yes.
It's a bit of
Little from column A, little from column B, about 50-50.
That was a lie. No, I don't have anything.
Just remember that crazy ass
I've got
chicken
no
tail.
mind.
I'm going to use an action to restore.
Yep.
I wanna I have a surface level no mind.
Yep.
I can just tell lies and I know
Mhm.
that it's lying.
Okay.
I'd like to embrace the.
It slips off. You can't detect anything there.
Okay. What? What does it say?
Embrace the null. It kind of counters that spell. And then Caliburn's kind of sat there and she kind of sits up and she goes, runs her hand through her hair and she holds it and it's like it's normal hair. It's not glass beads anymore.
Ooh.
And it's black and it's the same length, the same cut, and it's still got the different coloured streaks in it, but it's just not glass beads. And she stands up and she goes, I can't feel it. I can't feel anything. A sword. And nothing happens.
She's lost her power.
What? And that's what I'm going to call it.
Okay, I definitely don't trust you. Definitely don't trust you.
Why?
Roland is tempted to.
The fact that
Roland doesn't trust anybody.
you don't.
Yeah,
you
but
look
I
you
don't
look like-
actively distrust people. But I'm now actively distrusting you.
We've never seen you look like a normal boy.
You look like a real boy.
And the fucking chickens disappeared.
I was gonna, ask Caliburn if, No. Thomas is still too young and innocent to hear what I was going to say.
So, Roland.
Yeah.
What kind of session have you had? Good one, bad one, joy, despair?
Joy and despair. I think joy because I've recovered the horn, which is something that has been important, but also despair because of the nightmares about the quartet. So a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. One joy, one despair, and two acumen. Hawk.
Despair throughout. No joy. That dream brought back way too much, but in some ways, I don't know. I guess there is like some element of joy because it's opened up more of why I'm doing what I'm doing. But because subconsciously I didn't know it, and it was so far down. So hopefully, like you say, it might have to go back to the dream world to experience more of what it is that I need to unlock what I'm doing. But yeah, predominantly not so good.
Okay. There we go. Stowbold.
Joy. I had a joyous dream, and we've done a lot of accomplishing things.
I like accomplishing things.
And just one of those because you want in the game. Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
So, Caliburn seems to be cut off from magic, but most importantly, I can't taste my burrito.
Or your coffee.
Are you pregnant?
Possibly. Find out.